Welcome back to Across the Conference, everybody, and please welcome in Kevin Dresser. He's the head coach of Iowa State Wrestling. And Coach, I want to know, what has the journey been like as the Cyclones wrestling head coach since 2017?
Yeah, it's sneaking up on. We started our 9th season this season, so we knew what we signed up for. We had a so-called rebuild, and we feel like we've been progressing and going in the right direction. We've got a good squad this year, and so we're pretty healthy. And as a coach, to be really healthy and have some good quality guys in your squad is a good formula for where we're at right now.
Those guys who wrestle for you, what are the qualities of them? Who do you have to be to wrestle for Iowa State?
Well, obviously in the Division I world, there has to be a certain component of athleticism or skill to get on our radar, anybody's radar. And then we really try to look for kids that love the sport of wrestling, because it's a very difficult sport. It's very demanding, especially at the Division I level. I tell these guys all the time that, they're the pro athletes of folk style wrestling. There's no higher level than Division I wrestling. So you guys are the NBA, you're the NFL, you're the Major League Baseball. And so we need to have guys that really love and understand what it takes to be good at this level. And that's a big commitment. And so, you get the raw material of a good athlete, and then a kid that really loves wrestling, and that's kind of our formula.
Who would you say you were as a wrestler when you were at Iowa?
Well, I was that guy that, obviously I had enough athletic ability to be pretty good, but I got into a good room and a great program with Coach Gable, and very competitive. And I was a competitor. And so, when you put all that together, you have a recipe for winning. And it was just a really good experience for me. And I was very driven, even as a high school athlete. I did things that nobody else did. And I think that's what probably got me noticed. And then I was really willing to do whatever it took to get what I wanted at the end of my career. So it was a good experience.
How do you compare that experience when you were at, wrestling for Iowa to now as the head coach at Iowa State, that little in-state rivalry there?
So you try to draw from the experience, your own experience, and just getting to be around. I was around so many, NCAA champions and Olympians and world team members. When you're in that environment, and you see all of your peers and the people you travel with, and you go to lunch with, and you go to breakfast with, you see what things what they're willing to do and not willing to do, and you see the toughness that they possess, and as an individual, if you're willing to put that kind of time and effort in, you're going to get rewarded at some level. You never know how much you're going to get rewarded. But I do believe that, hard work works. And so you try to bring that to I try to share as many experiences of just being around really, really good guys and trying to create that environment. And that's always been my number one goal from the time I started coaching high school, was put together a really, really competitive, tough wrestling room, and things will work out.
How did coaching at Virginia Tech back in the day in the ACC prepare you for the Big 12?
Well, when we started at Virginia Tech, we were last for a couple of years. And so, obviously we built that up. I had a lot of great assistant coaches, administrators, fans, and we built that program up. And 10 years ago, we finished 4th in the nation and got a trophy. And the Virginia Tech job's a great job. It's a great place to coach. It's a great place to raise a family. But the allure of, I grew up an hour and 10 minutes north of Ames, Iowa. And I grew up watching Iowa State, and I understood the bigness of the job and the importance to the fan base of the job. And so that was very challenging to me. I knew that there was a high bar here, but I was ready to do a high bar. So, obviously learned a lot at Virginia Tech. Everywhere I've been, I was a high school coach at 2 different places. I learned a lot at each one of those stops. So, I felt like I was ready to do this, and we're doing it.
excite the inner child in you? If you think back on who you were growing up, 10 minutes around campus to now, it really is you're coming back home to it.
Well, that was, just getting around people that I grew up with and, my family. I left in 1988 from the University of Iowa, and I went out east for 29 years between two high school coaching stints and then Virginia Tech. So I was out on the East Coast for a long time. But again, yeah, maybe just the kid in me remembering everything and all the great memories of growing up in, going into every restaurant and every bar and every pub and seeing wrestling on TV all the time. That doesn't happen in many places. There's not many places that you can go that it's just constantly in front of you all the time. And that was exciting to me.
Awesome. What's the best part of wrestling in Hilton Coliseum?
Oh, just the fan base, and it's 15,000 plus, the size and the energy and the noise, and luckily we've got to the point where we've got a product that we fill it up a lot, and if we don't fill it up, we get really good crowds, and it's a loud place, and obviously we just had a big meet November 30th with the University of Iowa, in a really exciting dual meet, no matter what team you were pulling for, it was really good entertainment value, and I tell our athletes all the time, you're there to entertain. Those folks are paying money. You've got to entertain. And, I felt like we did. Even they did in a lot of situations.
What weight classes should fans and people that are going to be tuning in to Iowa State Wrestling, who do they need to look out for on your squad?
Well, I would say hopefully all 10. I'm greedy. Hopefully all 10. But obviously we got the number one ranked heavyweight, 285-pounder in the nation in Younger Bastida. Rocky Elam at 197 is ranked first or second. Anthony Ichimandia is ranked second or third. Again, depending on what polls you look at 141. Those are the three guys that probably have the highest ranking. The Frost brothers are both in the top 8 at their weights. And then, Vinny Zervin at 157 is in the top 8. We've got some guys. We've got some guys that can do some really good things and have been doing great things. So, we've got, I think, 4 more weekends of regular season play and competitions, and then we go to the Big 12. So, it's going fast. Only 4 more weekends left.
What excites you about what's left on the schedule? What do you have circled that you can't wait for?
I think anytime you get a chance to compete and make it real, and you come off the scale and you got to compete 2 hours later, is I like real reps. I always tell them the biggest competition of the season is the next competition. So we have Northern Colorado next Friday night here, and that's the biggest competition of the season. Now, it's natural to look at following weekend on Sunday, February 1st, we got Oklahoma State. They'll be ranked 4th. We'll be ranked 3rd, most likely. In Stillwater, I'm sure they'll sell it out. They hold 12,000 plus. So it's natural to get, look ahead a little bit into that environment. But, we've got Northern Colorado, we've got South Dakota State, and I think we've got Oklahoma all before we get to Stillwater. So we got to keep our eye on the ball there.
Coach, if you were to leave us here with one word that describes the Iowa State wrestling program, what would it be and why?
I hope it's consistency, because I think consistency is probably one of the hardest things to teach college kids or get college kids to understand is, trying to be the same guy every day at practice. And then when you do that, you're the same guy every weekend when you compete. So, I hope we can get to the reputation where, that if you shake hands with an Iowa State guy, you're going to get a consistent, tough effort every time.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time, and we wish you luck throughout the rest of your season.
Great questions. Thank you.